hope you are all doing well. We're going to pick up where we left off. It's been almost 2 weeks, but we are going to pick back up. So we're going to kind of do like a nice, easy little refresher right here. So we're solving rational exponent equations day 2. Okay, so we have 125 equals, in parentheses, we have 25x raised to the 3/2 power. Okay, we're working to get whatever's raised to the exponent by itself first. Well, there's nothing being added or subtracted out to the right or to the left of the parentheses. There's nothing being multiplied out front. So if I separate my sides left and right, on this right side, we did get whatever's raised to the power by itself. Okay, so what we do then is we focus on canceling out this power. So since we have a 3/2 power, what we're going to do is we're going to raise that to the 2/3 power. Okay, because if you have 3/2 times 2/3, okay, what that gives you is 3 times 2 is 6, and 2 times 3 is 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1. Or you can say multiplying by 2 and dividing by 2 would cancel out. Multiplying by 3 and dividing by 3 would cancel out. So you're just left with 1, right? So that's what we get here when we raise it to the 2/3 power. You're multiplying. When you raise a power to a power, the power rule, you multiply, okay? So we get 1. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to raise 125 to the 2/3 power, okay? So these cancel out, leaving us just 25x on this right side. And then on the left side, if you recall, if you have a square root of x, okay, x is raised to the power of 1, and your square root can be rewritten, so it's x raised to the power of 1, and you can rewrite the square root as a 1/2, right, because your x has the power of 1, and then you divide that power by 2. Or same with a cube root of x. X is raised to the first power, so we keep the first power, and then it's like it moves underneath. So it'd be divided by 1/3, right? So here where we have 2/3, okay, the top is what we're raising this number to, and then the bottom is our root. So really this is like the cube root of 125 squared, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the cube root first, and then I'm going to square it, because I guess I didn't write it like that, but you have this, and then you can put the square on the outside. It's the same thing. So what I would do to try to get your number smaller first, if you squared it first, you're going to get a much bigger number. So I would keep my 125 and take the cube root of it, and then I would square it. So let's look at the cube root of 125. All right, so all I did was go to Google and type in cube root of 125, and it gives me the answer. Okay, so all you need to do is just type it into Google, and Google will do it for you. All right, so we found the cube root of 125 is 5. So we get 5 squared equals 25x, because we found the cube root of 125 was 5. Okay, meaning 5 multiplied by itself 3 times is 125, right? So we replaced cube root of 125 with 5, and then we have 5 squared, which is 25. So we get 25 equals 25x. These are being multiplied, so to get x by itself, we're going to divide both sides by 25. 25 divided by 25 is 1. Same here, so we get x equals 1. And that is our answer. All right, our next example. Okay, so -5 out front multiplied by b minus 20 raised to the 5/4 power equals -1,215. Okay, so this one is going to give us a bigger answer, but that is okay. All right, so like I said earlier, we need to get, it helps you draw your line to separate the left side from your right side. You draw it at your equal sign. So we need to get this by itself, whatever's raised to the power by itself, which means I need to cancel out this -5, that is multiplied. You do not add 5 to cancel it out, because the only reason you'd add 5 is if there was like a plus or minus in between, right? But there's not, so ignore that. So we have -5 times b minus 20. Opposite multiplication would be division. So we're going to divide both sides by -5. Okay, so it cancels out and we get b minus 20 raised to the 5/4 power. Okay, we get 243. All right, so now what we're going to do is we are going to cancel out our power. So we're going to raise it to a 4/5. Okay, and these cancel each other out, so we get b minus 20 equals, and this is like I had the 5th root of 243 raised to the 4th power. So what we're going to do is we're going to go figure out the 5th root of 243. All right, and same thing, all I did was type in 5th root of 243. Okay, another thing you could type in is desmos.com/scientific, and it'll take you to a scientific calculator where you could choose the n over the root, and you could type in 5 for the 5th root of 243, and it gives you 3. Either option. Which gives us 3. So we get b minus 20 equals 3 raised to the 4th power, okay? Which means we have 3 being multiplied 4 times. So we get, let's see, gives us 81. So we get b minus 20 equals 81, okay? And then we're going to add 20 to both sides. And we get b equals 101. Okay, 2 more examples. All right, so this one, there's a lot more going on. We have a -2 minus. It's like what I was talking about earlier. If there wasn't that minus sign there, it'd be multiplied. This is -2 minus our parentheses that's raised to the power. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cancel out -2 by adding 2. I'm adding a 2 to cancel it out because it's subtracted to this, right? There's a subtraction sign in between. So to cancel out the -2, I'm going to add 2 to both sides, okay? So we get a -729 equals a negative. Don't forget to bring down this negative. And then -3 minus 4n raised to the 3/2 power. You need to get rid of this negative out front first, okay? Remember, we want this by itself. That includes the negative. So I'm just going to divide by -1, because all that does is just make the negatives cancel out, okay? And then here the negatives would cancel as well. So 729 equals a -3 minus 4n raised to the 3/2 power. And we are going to raise that to 2/3 power, right? We're just flipping our fraction, okay? So these cancel, which leaves me a -3 minus 4n on the right side. And then this is the cube root of 7, ooh, that's a 7, 729 squared. So we're going to take the cube root of 729 real quick, which is 9. So we get 9 squared equals -3 minus 4n. 9 squared is 81, and I'm running out of room. So I'm going to add 3, I'm going to move my answer over here. So 81 plus 3 gives me 84. These canceled, and then it's equal to -4n. So I'm going to divide both sides by -4. And I get n equals a -21. Alright, last but not least, here we have a number out front being multiplied and a number being added. We always cancel out the number added or subtracted first. So I'm going to do -8 first. And this gives me a -54 equals -2 times 33 minus 2m raised to the 3/4 power. Now we're going to cancel out the -2 that's being multiplied by doing the opposite, and we are going to divide by -2. And we get 27, the negatives cancel, equals 33 minus 2m raised to 3/4 power. And then we're going to raise that to the 4/3 power. Okay, so we get the cube root of 27 raised to the 4th power equals 33 minus 2m. Okay, the cube root of 27 is 3, so we get 3 raised to the 4th power equals 33 minus 2m. Okay, and 3 raised to the 4th power is 81. And so we get 81 equals 33 minus 2m. Remember, we're trying to get m by itself, so you always cancel out the number added or subtracted. So minus 33, minus 33, okay? And then we get 48, sorry, equals a negative 2m. Divide both sides by a negative 2. And we get m equals 24.